peace, light of joy. Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yay, good morning. And here we are, the Early Morning Ascension Show. Welcome, welcome. You just want to breathe in the beautiful air, and the sun is rising and coming across the field. And we're so grateful to have another beautiful day on this planet and be deep in gratitude for who we are. Trust me, it's taking more and more time throughout my day, several times a day, to be in gratitude. Just me personally, I've been moving through so many deep shifts of transition and really releasing lots of dense karmic cycles that have been so challenging and not only dramatic but traumatic in the deconstructing and the rebuilding of who I've been spiritually and as a divine feminine, coming forward to offer new potentiation for the passion of who I am to offer and inspire through the highest frequencies of who we are as light, reminding ourselves that we are light, reminding ourselves that it's our co-creation of who we are within, the loving and the nourishing of who we are within, the reminding every moment for moment that we are one with Spirit. Spirit is guiding us in all breaths. Spirit is guiding us in all movements forward, and which today we're going to talk about just trusting the illogical, trusting the unimaginable and the miraculous. Because oftentimes when Spirit guides you and you're aligning to that highest path of who you are, most often than not, it won't make sense to be guided into a bookstore or to take a class that you would not normally take, to take a route to work that you wouldn't normally take. All of those experiences that Spirit inspires you to do always is pressing you out into these new experiences of breaking routine, breaking conformity. Because as we know, the vibrational stories through which we've all been, told and sold, they're not nourishing the inner spirit of who we are. And why they've shown me the warping of the spirit is because we've created these value systems outside of ourselves of being judged and graded, thinking that anything outside of us could put a value or direct us in any way. And so we're returning all of those energies back to self. We're returning all the ideas and all the notions and all the potentiation and the definitions. Everything comes back to self, and having a really beautiful, important sense of self for who you are, how you direct and are guided from within. And honoring this beautiful path of sacredness, of self-guidance and self-direction is the only way, and practicing it in every moment is the only way that your sovereignty and that self-empowerment is ever gained, and your confidence is ever gained. It's through the practicing of who you are. Regardless of how your path and your movement of your path might seem strange or odd to others, because remember, each person's perspective is based on their consciousness level and where they're at, how much density they've been able to work through, and how flowing with the infinite potentiation that we are as Spirit. Spirit is infinite flow of creativity. Create, is the experience and the expression and the exploration of who we are as Spirit in the creation of these spiritual matter, bringing matter to earth, through the intentions and the focus and the direction of all of our energy. We are Spirit creating matter. So how do we intend it? How do we vibrate at that core experience? What am I feeling? Get in touch with how you're feeling throughout the day. Remind yourself that you're meant to be living a healthy and beautiful and flowing life. Returning all of your consciousness to self, especially now, because there's so much on the outer reality that's pulling at us and distracting us. And just like if you're this core being of energy right here, and there's so many of these bullet points of energy that just keep pulling on your energy to distract you from your path of direction and focus, then it's quite depleting of your energy. And so much of what we offer in our vibrational teachings is not only remember that you are pure self-directed consciousness with Spirit, you and Spirit, the Mother and the Father, becoming the sacred child in that Vesica Pisces. As you're balancing the male and female energies, understanding the virtues of the male and female energies and why we go through many timelines and lifetimes practicing such, so that you're releasing yourself from all limitations and stories that have been held in the Akash, your lineage, social, dogmatic, all of these experiences that hold us back from being the expressive, infinite flow of Spirit. And that is your own unique path of heart-centered potentiation with Spirit. And why that return of who you are and the living of the intuitive bodies, the living of the intuitive self, living of the Spirit itself will allow you that eternal life, constantly creating something from nothing. And this is what each and every one of us do. We have that potential. However, we've always been looking outside of us to guide and direct us. You know, as they offered yesterday, the councils of light and the guardians of light. You know, for those of us that have been in various interests of assisting humanity take that next step in breaking the borders and the boundaries. We don't have to wait for anyone to tell us, okay, you can start doing this now. You can start creating this idea of, you know, vibrational anthropology, perhaps. You know, any aspect of our traditional systems can be broken into an infinite number of branches based on your excitement and your exploration. That's what we're meant to do. We're not meant to wait for any societal government body to tell us it's okay to do that. We're here to create from the intelligence and the wisdoms that we have, because you've carried those infinite number of timelines with those similar gifts and skills. And you might be meant, you know, like they offered yesterday, you might be meant to bring something to a whole new level because you're working on it in other galaxies and other councils. And right now is your time to awaken to it and start creating, because you're going to be fed those experiences that yesterday you might not have thought would have been possible. But that intuitive aching and that intuitive drive to continue pressing the boundaries and pressing the boxes, regardless of what any outside body says. There are no rules on how we create our truest excitement of who we are. When you're aligned with spirit from the heavens, you'll be given everything that you need to do and to know and to be nourished in and sustained in abundance, health, and wealth, so that you can continue the threading and the co-creations of the spirit matter to matter in the alignment of our 5D earth. And so we must do things differently. We must break all boundaries of what tradition was, take the best of it, and then create new and start threading these vibrational threads that take us into these other realms of potentiation. That's how you continue manifesting your timeline. Your timeline is based on the innate inner centering of who you are, the creativity of who you are, and creating that vortex of love and potential and promise. And so we'll give you an example. Lots of energy flowing through me right now. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so thank you, Masters and Guardians of Light, and the Ancestors and the Orators of Light and Oracles of Light. Thank you, so many ancestors that are with us right now. And they're coming to talk about the Aboriginals and many of the tribes and the indigenous peoples, many tribes throughout all of creation and many tribes throughout all planets and celestial councils. There is such sacredness and there is such uniqueness and diversity of the entire universe in and of itself, from the aspects of the smallest potentiation of life to the grandest potentiation of life through which Source Creator creates many galaxies and many harmonizations of new universes that are always in the magnetic pull and creation of one another. Remember, everything operates within the balance of the creation, for there must be a catalyst and there must be the inspiration to continually breaking boundaries and breaking boxes as the Vesica Pisces is constantly stretching and expanding out. And so within the many peoples and the many tribes, it is a beautiful dichotomy, if you will, and that dichotomy and the polarization and the universal energies that are being bathed on our planet. It's occurring right now that it's very evident that there has been so much duality. So much of the deconstruction that we see right now is the awakening to how staunch in limitation that we've allowed ourselves to be through the giving away of our power. And so many of these tribes are coming forward as, so I'm just seeing all of these tribes come up. Through each and every one of us in our awakenings, we will be the voice of the tribes that we come with. We'll be the voice of the ancestors. We'll be the voice of our galactic clubs and councils, so that we are constantly threading out, if you will. I don't know if I can explain it to what I see, but there's these vibrational clouds and layers and platforms of vibrational song, potentiation. And so it's up to us each day to continually nourish and renew and recycle our energies to keep pressing out into what we are as creative, excited beings. And those inspirations from our tribes, those inspirations from our ancestors are being threaded through us and might not make sense. You might have had an educational excitement and history to study anthropology and to do the traditional route, but now you're being offered to think outside the box and become different in it, because you have ancestors now, you have lineage now, you have higher vibrational beings now that are offering you galactic anthropology. What does that mean, and how can we add it to the tribes that we've come from? Because in doing so, from the planetary history of Earth, if we will, we have all come from infinite number of galactic DNA parties and tribes and councils and planets. Thank you, Spirit. And so we're meant to start rebuilding. This is a very powerful and profound notion, and we're bringing it here for the first time. Thank you, Spirit. I'm having a heart activation as we're saying this, and it's very profound in what I'm seeing. The infinite number of tribes and groups and councils through all of creation are now inspiring us through threads of potentiation on what your excitements are at your heart and your soul, to start harmonizing the diversity of all life, of all species, of all beings, of all forms, of all experiences, and why each and every one of us will be inspired and directed, if we so choose. It's our own entanglement with Spirit. It's our own quantum becoming with Spirit. We're the ones that have to ask. Remember, the elevator is always there. We have to get in and push the button. And that's what, Spirit and the councils of light have always offered us. Spirit and the infinite eternal life is always within. But we must be the ones to say, I'm ready for something different. I'm ready to create something different. I'm ready to break the box on all traditions, take the best of what was. It was amazing, incredible experience. But now let's create something new, because we need to press out and release all boredom, all routine, all stagnation, all conformity, all rigidity, all routine, anything that is telling us that we are less than, not healthy, not abundant, whatever those stories are. We have every moment to break free of the shackles, break free of the bondage, and harmonize in all highest light to bring all communities, all tribes, all peoples as an equal of one. And so what they're showing me is these infinite pods of energy, if you will, are all now harmonizing through each and every one of us as we awaken to our wholeness as the soul, as we awaken to the profundity of our soul. We're now allowing these highest potentiational inspirations to create the diversity of our wholeness through our own unique souls and path. That person that had that traditional exploration of anthropology may now be opening to the soul in and of itself that has maybe 9 to 13 tribes that it wants to start harmonizing into a new genre of information and wisdom. For it was only taking the history of what it knew itself to be of earth. Do you see what we're saying, dear lighted ones? For you become as a whole entire package of a soul. Your infinite wisdom as the soul, your living as the soul, has infinite layers and levels that you can start threading in the vastness of who you are. So why stay limited? Why only use that one experience? You're not one experience, you're all experiences. And that's why you feel those experiences in many of us, when you have just so much that you know you could be doing, so much potential, so much incredible inner drive is just bubbling, but there's not the path before you. You're meant to create it. And that's when we don't create it, we then go into energies that feel like depression, because the spirit is not being allowed its creative flow to just create, because it has been ingrained in us not to. We have been conformed out of our creativity. That the spirit's voice was not mattered, that the spirit's expression was not mattered, that the spirit's expression was not valued. But we are, absolutely, each and every one of us, we are valued in who we are as a creator. It is through the spirit that we express these new fifth dimensional experiences, and we must go within and say, no, I'm going to carve my own path. And release the fears and the obligations that will come up and say, well, that doesn't fit within our role definition. And you can just say, so that's okay. I'm going to create my own role and definition. Each and every one of us has the sovereign right, the birthright to live a happy life, to live joyful, to live in bliss, to live in beauty of who we are. But we must begin. We must begin that path and carve making. We must do it within our expression of who we are as the excitement, and diversify all that we are. For we are all tribes. Each and every person on this earth has come from all tribes, all colors, all forms. Make no mistake about it. There's not one being on this planet that does not have a diverse DNA. There's not one. We are the most diverse collective of experience on this planet. And we can create the most incredible classes and courses and potentiations that are undeniably unique and diverse within that, so that we celebrate all peoples and all tribes. For you are all peoples, you are all tribes. And it can be sewn and threaded within the divine potentiation of the new harmonization of our storytelling for humanity. Why it's been very important, this storytelling energy, because our children are waiting for us to know who they really are. How are we activating who we are as diverse beings and sharing it with them so that they understand who they are as a diverse experience? And they go into their experience of traditionality, if you will, and they start changing it based on their vibration and excitement and creativity. And that is the nourishment of the soul. That is the, wow, I feel good about who I am. When you feel good about who you are, you've raised the level of health and wellness in your cells. You've allowed yourself to say, yes, I do have purpose, and my purpose is me. I do have potential, and my potential is me. because spirit will show me, my teams will show me, my tribes will show me, and I get to create this, this, and this. That's when you create something from nothing. Something from nothing, that is spirit, that is spirit, that is spirit. Each and every one of you. Each and every one of you come from a diverse experience and collective of tribes and beings and councils and groups and planets. You simply do. You do, you do. You are in a human body, but your human body and the DNA and the experience and the Akash and the wisdoms and the lineage and all of those soul fragments that every month that you're going through your ascension soul releases, you're calling in those negative shadow energies, those experiences, you're healing the shadow, knowing that you're perfect, knowing that you're profound. You go back to self-love, you go back to self-nourishment, you start redirecting yourself from within the self, creating from the self your unique ideas. Your vibrational field of spirit self starts to grow and expand. The spiritual experience of who you are begins to expand. You need more space, you need more room because your spiritual body is expanding. It wants more room to create because your spiritual body is profound. It wants to create with the forest and the trees because its element of spirit wants to create with other elements of spirit. And that's why those of you that are going through certain growth right now, the recalibration of the earth they wanted to talk about, and then we'll get off because we wanted to keep this vibrational video short. The space in which you create will be important from here on out, those of you that have been on the path for quite some time. For your environment will allow you to receive and achieve greater expansiveness when you're co-creating with the environments that are in vibrational match of you, and why your teams and your guides will be guiding you in the shifting and the moving of where you will be and where you want to be, and your soul guides. So again, trust in where your soul guides you. It won't make logical sense. There are many portals and many activations on the planet right now that are being needed. So we want to go back to that. As we said last week in our offering, that because of the collective awakening, as we're the collective body of who we are, is awakening, and many of those densities are coming up to be cleared and honored and accepted. It's always about acceptance of everything, acceptance of it all. Whatever comes up, accept it. I accept what's coming up within me. What is this teaching me? What is this showing me? I can release that belief. It doesn't suit me anymore because this is who I am now. And you reaffirm a higher vibrational belief of infinite potential, perfection, love. So release what was, accept it, and now call in that new experience. You're constantly expanding as you're doing so because you're calling in that higher light to replace the dense that was released from you. And that's how you call in those ever higher codes of light, ever higher codes of becoming. Your DNA gets activated, your chakras get activated, you're calling in that harmonization of light, your soul aspects, living as the soul, living as your tribe, living as the diversity. And as you're doing so, you're allowing yourself to encompass your grandness of who you are becoming. All your creativity, all your wisdoms, all your intelligences start to grow. That spiritual body begins to grow because that's just the natural progression of who you are as light. Getting out my little picture here. I'm not sure if it will be seen. So as you are growing in this infinite now moment, all of those aspects that you're harmonizing in, allowing all aspects and fragments, whether it's somebody that's sitting across from you that you need a reflection by to accept it as oneness, to release a judgment, to release a transgression, to release self-judgment, to release self-pity, to release victimization, whatever it is in your now moment that you're seeing from your collective. That is for you to say, I accept this, and how can I become more compassionate and forgiving and loving of me? And return that love to self, reaffirm your new state of light and oneness, because it's always about oneness. I accept you. I'm not holding you separate anymore. I honor you. Your story is teaching me this, this, and this, and I honor that part of me. Accepting and harmonizing what you tend to judge and what you tend to push out and separate. Those are the aspects of ascension. That's how you create self-actualization. You're actualizing the universe as you. It's not the universe is not separate. It's all one. And that's what we're understanding and remembering here on planet Earth. And so in this, we're going through, our planet is going through, as everybody on Earth is awakening and they're releasing their root chakra errors and fears and all of the things that they've held as suppression of fear and limitation. All of the controlling programs are being deconstructed. And that, of course, then creates, and of course, all the media is all fear-based and, selling us those experiences. They're just enhancing the level of fear and separation between the collective, the haves and have-nots, the vaccines and non-vaccinated. It's just pushing separation, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a part of that story. You can accept it as a part of the story and then create something that feels really good. And that's mastery. When you don't get stuck in the vibrational stories of limitation, fear, and karmic cycles that continue in fear and separation. You create something, you create a story that's loving and one and inclusive of all stories, but you get to do what feels right for you. That is breaking away from the pack. That is breaking away from what's not logical. That's breaking away and following spirit, because spirit will always guide you. So in these upheavals of energies of fears that are coming up from those that are now awakening, those energies are sitting on the earth, and all of the deconstructing programs, all of those energies are sitting on the earth now. The energy doesn't go anywhere. We must transmute it. And so sometimes, and oftentimes in times of great change, as they told me this morning in my channel, that we're going through a recalibration right now, a planetary and collective recalibration. We're leaving the Piscean age, which was based on hierarchy and control, and much was abuse of power. And all of those archaic systems that were used and abused in that way, there's going through a big reset. So all of those deconstructive energies must be transmuted, as we offered in a couple of experiences before. So in and out of your everyday life, if you're feeling the need and you're feeling that compression and anxiety of, wow, things are changing, I don't know what, create yourself just a love vortex. Just by doing a gentle sweeping motion, you're pulling the dense energy from within your bodies, from within your fields, because everything is being projected. You're a part of Earth, you're feeling those energies. I'm creating a vortex of love, and any energies that are in my field or any energies that are in my surrounding cities and communities of fear about where things are going, fear of the unknown, I'm transmuting it into excitement and joy and love, because I can. I'm absolutely excited about where spirit guides me. I'm excited about the unknown. I can be excited about change. I understand that there are upheavals and there will be weather experiences and changes in the seismic activity, because we are going through a collective and a global and a planetary experience. When we're shifting from grand limitation and fear, that fear energy must go somewhere. So we choose to release it with divine knowing of who we are as spirit. We release all fear with divine knowing that we are held safely within the benevolence of who we are as spirit, that we can align within all that we are as the epicenter of light, and we can create new and transmute anything that does not feel good. We call in great light, we call in great light, we call in great light, and my body and my cells are beautiful and pristine. I am pristine, the land is pristine, our collective is pristine and peaceful and healthy, and abundance for all, the greater good of all, and I bless and I pray for all. And then come back to center and ground and ground and ground and ground. And you understand that Gaia knows what she's doing. She's a consciousness body that's holding 7 billion people for a planet. And just think of the profundity of this, because I'm able to see and sense what is a macro experience, so that I can offer this to you of how profound this experience is. Gaia is a planetary body of the most profound richness of elements of ecosystems on every level that we don't even understand and don't have words for, that we will be participating in, because we're going to create those new learning systems of those higher vibrational potentials that we all live within, that we all sense and feel, because we all have energy bodies and energy fields that is electromagnetic, as Gaia is. Otherwise we'd be whipping off into space. We are the science and we are the spirit of all that is God, of all that is spirit, source, creator. And that is based on all of creational energies within the greater galactic and universal omnipresent. It's all the science of spirit and the spirit of science. And it goes way beyond what has ever been written traditional, because they're not understanding the multidimensionality of who we are and the cosmic energy, that the essence and the spiritual energy and the essence that is spirit in all things, the omnipresence, the essence of life, the omnipresent field. The omnipresent field is where all of the pulsations of our collective energy go. Those energies must be transmuted. When there is anything that's going on in one particular area, those energies must be transmuted. However, there's few that are knowing it and doing it, because they're not even doing it within their bodies. So this is time now where we take that daily self-care to really transmute what's going on, creating that vortex of love and potentiation, because you can change anything that you're feeling, whether it's a fear, whether it's a worry, and you can put it in your vortex and say, I'm going to transmute this. I'm not going to carry that worry, whether it's a worry about your children, what's going to happen, whether it's a worry about your job, just put it in your vortex and just start transmuting it. I absolutely know that spirit will assist me with the highest white light in the highest benevolence and alignment with my greater good, the greater good of the all. And I'm going to choose to transmute it. I choose to transmute it with all that I am as a being of light. I choose to transmute it with all that I am as a being of light. And many will fear this, because they're in that mindset that no, they're not powerful to transmute energy of fear and worry and greed and lack of health and wealth. You absolutely are. Your body is waiting for you to transmute those dense energies that say you are not in charge of your health. You absolutely are in charge of your health. If you choose not to catch any illness or disease, you won't. Be in alignment with your best. Be in alignment with your purity of who you are as spirit. Every cell is listening. Every atomic matter molecule is listening to you. And it's in vibration of who you are, Spirit. It's in vibration of your planet and where you're working. So absolutely, you can transmute anything. And that's your knowingness, as thy name is. I'm healing of thy name. I'm healing of these energies I'm able to sense. And I get to, because I'm connected with Gaia, and I want our planet to be peaceful and in harmony and in joy of my benevolence and my beauty. That's right, I'm beautiful, and I've got great light, and I want to help transmute whatever I'm feeling, I'm sensing. Just put it in your vortex. I can transmute this, Spirit. Let's go. Spirit, the Mother and the Father and all of my teams and all my guides, I'm going to transmute what feels uncomfortable. I'm acknowledging it, I'm accepting it, and I get to transmute it because I can. And that is walking in your light. And there is no negative energy, no negative spell, no negative anything that will ever touch your consciousness, because you absolutely know who you are. That's how to navigate through any density, through any bullying, through any energies being sent your way. You can navigate it by standing in the purity of who you are as light. And you get to be the one that navigates your direction with Spirit, in alignment with Spirit, and stand in your power and in your light, so that you won't fear of getting bullied. You won't fear of getting taken off your path. You won't fear of falling ill and sick. And any of those energies that are out there in the collective, if you will, because that's just a part of our transmutation of the Piscean age of fear and separation and worry and greed and all of the oligarchy experiences and the hierarchy experiences, we're now calling in and saying, let's bring peace to this. We accept it as a part of our experience. But now we bring unconditional love and peace to it, because we want and we choose a new collective experience where it's diverse and it's beautiful, and all tribes and all peoples work as one. All tribes and all peoples are abundant. All tribes and all peoples have great leadership and great healing and great potentiation as the highest version of who they are. And all voices are heard and all voices matter. And all bodies matter. And their bodies are held with great health and great wellness and great balance within who they are, as the harmony of spirit and science and love and light. And breathe in these codes. And know love, love, love. I am love, 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 I am love. And I carry my light. I am the consciousness of Spirit. And that is holding what has been the Metatronic light, which the Christ, Jesus, and all masters came to teach in all different variations of religions. Because it is the essence of who we are as Spirit. Manifesting creation from within, creation from within, creation from within. So what they offered me this morning in that, and all the tribes that were offering me, is that we are meant to carve these new paths, because we are now the soul. We are the soul's evolution of all of our tribes, of all bodies, of all experiences, with source and center within us. And all worlds are coming together, all collectives of galactic frequencies, all planets, all experiences, all forms that we've ever had. We have been so much within the eternal creational wave of timelines. And if you're open to who you are as light, you're calling up your tribes, you're calling up your soul, you're harmonizing all soul aspects. Your bodies and your spirit body get bigger and bigger and bigger. The fields that you walk in get bigger and bigger and bigger, because you're harmonizing as the all. And why Jesus walked in the way that he did. He was balanced in his male and female bodies. He was so harmonized with his divine and feminine body that he was in allowance of spirit. And he manifested through the gentleness and through the alchemy of who he was. And that taught us something that all of our eons now are changing and shifting, the recalibration. Because to manifest anything, you don't need to walk and roar like the lion. You don't need to passion bound things. You don't need to stomp and throw your hands in the air, which we've all done because we've just not understood. And the transgressions just come forward because this is the first time we're breaking these barriers of unknown. And so let's get excited, center in our peace, and know that when we're walking in the balance of who we are as male and female, the manifestations just flow. Spirit wants you to have everything that you've worked for and earned in your sending out of those wonderful pulsations of love and goodness to all. Spirit will want you to receive it. And then you just sit back and receive the blessings of who you are. And all tribes live through you, and all tribes will help you create something never created before. So trust it. Trust the illogical. Trust the long way around. Trust this, the way you could just got to sit back and just rest for a while. Spirit knows what's coming for you. Spirit knows the transitions and the things going on planet Earth and where you need to be when you need to be there. So we're going to have one last point that they wanted me to go back to. Because of the movement and the seismic energies and the small cataclysms that will be coming, it is because of the recalibration from the Piscean to the age of Aquarius. And so that's what those transitions are. Many of the systems that have held such fear and density must be released. The energies from those systems must be released as they're all deconstructed. And we found those stories coming out in the news every day. about the abuse of power and money and all of those experiences that are now all coming up and being deconstructed. The energy has to go somewhere. So when you see and you feel those energy stories and you see them on your social platforms, just take a few minutes just to transmute it, because it doesn't have to stay stuck in your systems of worry and fear and fret where you're just creating those timelines. And whatever worry or fret or anxiety you're going through, whether it's the loss of a job or a company's job, whatever those things are, those must come down. It must be. So let's just transmute it and let's create something really powerful and beautiful and creative that we're meant to create in flowing reverence and honor of life and sacred energy. And so because of the energies and what's going on the planet, these seismic shifts and these weather experiences that we're all finding, whether it's a volcano, earthquakes and fires, when you see those stories, transmute the energy into just a quick affirmation. We accept these as a part of our releasing of the collective energies and the galactic energies and our planetary energies of timelines of suppression and depression and fear. And we're now surrendering it to the heavens, and we're going to surrender into greater light, because we are creative beings of light. We are beautiful spiritual beings of light, and we choose to live in freedom of our spirit and co-creative potentiation of all experiences, of all oneness. Thank you, Spirit. And just take 5 or 10 minutes just to start transmuting and creating a vortex of your own potentiation of who you are with Spirit. That's far more beneficial than sitting in the worry and creating those timelines of worry and depressing your body of its health. And so you wanted to say one more thing about that. Oh, so they're just saying, yes, just hold peace. Like, just create a vortex of peace. Whatever story, whatever experience is coming forward, whether it's about a family member or anything that's unfolding, just hold it in peace. And I surrender this into the peace of who I am. I am a Christic being of light, and I can surrender and transmute any energy. That's you believing in your power as source, creator, God, to transmute what is ever in your environment. Because you are responsible for your fields. You are responsible for your light. You are responsible for your chakras, for your fields, for the health of your aura. And that is all based on the truth of who you are. Your aura is the base, and your chakras, the purity, and the more refined your chakras are, the more pure and refined your aura is, because it's based on the truth of you. When you're living in that truth, your colors are refined. You're pure, you're clear, because you know who you are. And that is, again, returning to who you are as self. And in doing so, many of our worldly issues will just be resolved in doing so, because we're not giving any power away to any outside source that demeans or belittles who we are, and continuing depressing and suppressing the spirit and warping the spirit, through which it has to go to outside realms and frequencies to create aggression and friction and violence to get what it thinks it needs, because it doesn't. It is the nourishment of the whole self, of the spirit self, of the science and the spirit matter. And it's always a constant balancing and harmonization. And when you just get into practice of it, you just flow. Am I feeling happy? And if you're not, okay, well, how can I feel happy? How can I bring that happiness to me? How can I feel happy today? Is the job making you happy, and the environment and the circle of friends? If it's not making you happy, shift it. Someone's got to shift it. Otherwise, you just keep creating those cycles of density and fear and worry, and you wake up every morning in nightmares every night. Why would one want to do that? I've been doing it for 7 years, and it's over now. No more. Because you felt obligated to suffer within a certain role or obligation when there was other energies that were pressing on you, and other energies that were, wanting you to stay in a state of lack and suppression and depression and smallness. No. Allow your story to sing fully and completely for who you are. Shine. Step away and start a new cycle. Create something new. Create something new from all the wisdoms that you are, and acting in the benevolence of who you are as a spirit. And love. We're going to put one of our 5D creator cards, and then we'll get going. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Did I say everything I needed to say, Spirit, on the movement? Oh, yes. Going back to that again. So there are portals and energies on the planet, and why some of you will be guided to where you need to be, because you're also working with the grids in many of the locations that you'll be guided to, because our whole planet, as they said, is upgrading. And we're shifting from one age of energy template that has been there for eons. This is why we're having the to do the transmission. This is why it's so profound, like thousands of years of a certain energy experience and co-creation. We're now get to deconstruct it and say, okay, now how can we do this? And that is why the age of Aquarius will allow us to be our most fluid and creative, and bringing all of our timelines, gifts and skills, all of the tribal gifts and skills, all of our indigenous gifts and skills, and start creating something really profound. And so this is wonderful. This is the God unseen chakras. And the God unseen is that those energies of what we talked about before, is that the allowing in the understanding of the God presence in all things, in between all things, above and below, in between the science and the matter of all things, is spirit. When you understand that, you begin working with it. You can transmute anything. You don't have to stay stuck in your body. If you have an illness, you can transmute it. Start working with the unseen. All that you are is spirit. All that you are is spirit. All that you are is spirit. And start working with it as above, so below, and in and out. And so that allows you to be the collective maverick. Again, it won't make logical sense to others, and it shouldn't, and that's okay. You don't have to be reliant upon others' validation for you to follow your path. And that's when you're going within and rebuilding who you are, in that important sense of self with spirit. You're meant to be here. You have a purpose. You're able to see the omni-uniqueness in each person, in each aspect of life, and understand that everything has a purpose for its unfolding. And just to create your intention of peace, I'm creating my intention of peace on the planet, of peace on the planet. And anytime something unfolds that seems shaky and worrisome, then I'm just going to put it in my vortex and just transmute it in peace. And of course, in doing this, if you have this card come up in your daily experience, then we all have the potentiation to be the highest vibrational healers and transmutated experiences and the co-creative genius and magician that we are, because we know and we understand energy, and we're manifesting and using it that is of benevolence and then the highest grade of good. Divine order, and the highest and greatest good, so that there is no negative energy that is placed on any other to receive an outcome or to thwart an outcome or to thwart the controlling direction of anything. That is not the right use of will. The right use of will is transmuting what is before you in the greater good of all and just using light. Not to direct and control or force an outcome, just to control the energy within what is going on, sending it to this big bucket of light and having light transmute the worry and the fear and the less than and the density. That's it. The highest benevolent outcome for all, please, Spirit. Highest benevolent outcome for all. You want to be in alignment so that you're able to do your highest and best, and why it's not anybody's position to place anybody on a role of control on what anyone thinks anyone's path should be. That's for God, God and spirit, and you aligning with that. And why it's very important, and why we're all seeing now how to use energy in the right use of will, how to use energy benevolently, how to navigate energy that is difficult and challenging and very negative, is all holding yourself within who you are as the unseen. You are God unseen, and God has in this incredible bubble in and around you. But it's now up to us working with it and being sovereign within it and nourishing it and maintaining it and sustaining it in highest vibrational ways. And that's what all the masters taught us. That's why Jesus, when he walked, he attracted so much nature and beauty. His field was massive. I have to get going. And this is the visionary card. Again, the visionary that we've talked about is a multidimensional visionary, which means that it's not only sight and unseen, it is the impressions and the knowings of who you are as spirit, the eye and the eye of God and the law of one in that divine mind and plan of God. We're never going to know the plan of God, but we're meant to just follow in those inspirations and those activations of who we are with spirit. And it's not always going to make sense. It's going to ask you to leave. It's going to ask you to pack up and move, because that's where you're needed on that planet to work that grid, or to be in that community for your new tribe and your new soul's mission, your new soul's path to start taking place. Spirit is the one putting all the beings and the people together where they're meant to be for the highest and greatest good collective experience. So it's up to us to follow it. It's up to us to break out of conformity and create that new class, create that new understanding. You've got those inspirations for a reason. So follow it. Follow those threads of inspiration. We wrote about that in our first book. Our books are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Fifth Dimensional Consciousness, as well as 2 other ascension books about my elegance and my pathway with spirit, and how it's been the most incredible experience for my entire unfolding and many of the remarkable gifts that I come with. Remarkable was their word. I wrote it down the other day. It's not a word that I would use in explaining myself, but I'm using the new vortex of empowering and self-love and self-appreciation and self-honor for me, because I've never had that in my experience here on planet Earth. And because of that, there's been those that I've accompanied that have not had equal value and honor of me. And so again, that's all about going through your own soul's path. In your own soul's history, right now is a new moon. So create those new moon affirmations, those new moon summations about what you've learned from your past cycle and what you're stepping into as the honor and the benevolence and the reverence of who you are. And call in all of your soul's tribes and honor and revere that, because they're offering you their greatest light. They're offering you their greatest wisdom so that you can become your highest and your fullest, and releasing every limitation, every projection that made you feel less than and weak or not important or not valued or not special, because those were the projections from so many vibrational stories that are damaging in every way, multidimensional, damaging of every way. Anything that is less than, anything that is not infinite is damaging to the multidimensional experience, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or etherically, or in your aura field. And it affects the planet, as you know. Everything is energy. So whatever your core vibrate as, whatever your intentions and your thoughts are in energy vibration, positive or negative, affects the all. And why it must be understood as the law of one and the right use of will. And that is why those who experience those experiences, wanting to live in those creative stories, will have those tower moments again and again until those lessons are learned. Cannot continue to place harm on another and not expect it to come back to you. You cannot continue to place hate on another and not expect it to come back to you. And so it's important that we get these laws of the universe, and we get it. And to live in the highest benevolence of who we are as spiritual matter. Physics and science, spiritual matter. And that is what the blessing of spirit is. Spirit's offered us and gifted us with free will. And we're not meant to use it in destruction and harm to another. It's meant to be used in the benevolent creativity of all that is creation. And that is why we have the alignment of the spirit. The spirit shows us how we're meant to create, but we've never been aligned with it because we've never been taught. It's been taught to go outside of you for the giving away of your power, the giving away of your value, the giving away of your self-worth. Just align within. I am love, spirit. I want to return to myself with you. I want to return to myself in my highest and my best. Please align me with my greatest gifts. Simplicity and the natural elegance of spirit. We thank you, dear lighted ones. I think that's all we've got today. So again, just soak within your peace. Create that intention of peace. And especially when our world is going through so much transition, just do a few moments of light work a day and just send out peace to all the collective. Send out peace to your children. Send out peace to anything that you feel worrisome. Send out peace to your future path. Send out peace that you will align with your future path, and you will align and listen to the calls of spirit and heeding those beautiful synchronicities that spirit and God always want you to seek the beauty in everything. And it'll be shown to you. And the very many galactic federations that are preparing us for first contact, and we thank you so much. Is there a final message from the councils and the galactic federations of light, please, before we leave spirit? We're seeing you create so much light on your planet, and so take what you call time throughout your day to celebrate all that you've gone through and all that you've moved through and how much light you are actually creating. When you just allow yourself to bounce and be joyful and be happy and dance and sing and play, you create so much light on your planet, breaking away the energies from those systems that are deconstructing before you. And allow the deconstructing. Be joyful and celebratory of the deconstructing, because you will always be given a new opportunity to rebuild in a higher vibrational way, where you are centered within your heart on your truest values, your truest knowing of who you are, your truest potentiation of creativity. For why would a system of lack and limitation want to continue when there is so much potential of the infinite? The energy around you is infinite. The energy within you is infinite. So if you allow the combination of infinite and infinite, how may you co-create now? How may your foundations be joyful and blissful and celebratory now? How may the entire new systems that you will co-create in alignment with light, how may that be expansive and exploratory? How may that be the most joyful and blissful experience? Do you see what we're saying? Instead of it being one class or course outline, it'll be infinite. That's so exciting. Our planet needs the excitement of who we are. Our planet needs the joy and the bliss of who we are. We are meant to be joyful. We are meant to be happy. We are meant to live in the fluidity of life. We are meant to sing in celebration of who we are as joy. And that, my dear lighted ones, is the healing of thy name. Thank you, Divine Mother and Father, and the holiness of the highest creators and the Most High. Thank you in the divine creatorhoods of the many councils of light and Melchizedek, and all of the councils of the Christ, and all of the beings of light programs, and all the essences of light. I'm just seeing incredible infinite beings of all forms and all shapes and all sizes. Thank you, Spirit. I'm just having a flashback of a galactic encounter. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. And so they're all holding hands. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Spirit. So what they're showing me right now, we'll end this. All of the galactic councils and beings and forms from all planets are in this beautiful celebratory celebration of our transition into the Aquarian age and our transition into these experiences. It's just your intention. I intend to be in a timeline of creativity and light and hope. So any simple affirmations that take you from what was into what can be and what is, those are your intentions that are creating a celebration of our oneness and diversity. And so they're showing me all of the beautiful potentiations of celestial lifetimes that we've held are also surrounding our planet in celebration of who we are, in their oneness and our oneness. So it's a micro macro. And we celebrate you. Our links are below if you would like to donate. We love you so much. And we have our Communities of Light meeting on Thursday for those of you that want to join us in that beautiful celebration of community and the creation of our light communities. And we thank you so much. Bye, dear lighted ones, rainbow tickles.